Welcome to Daily Harmony.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really powerful review lesson from A Course in Miracles, Lesson 177.
That's right. It revisits two absolutely foundational lessons, 163 and 164.
Yeah, and these tackle some huge concepts. Lesson 163 stating there is no death, and 164 declaring our oneness with Source, with God.
Profound ideas, certainly.
Definitely. So for you listening, maybe you've grappled with these for a while, or maybe they're newer concepts. Our aim today is to really unpack them.
And explore how they might shift your perspective, on everything from loss to just everyday connection.
Exactly. We've got some helpful materials, study guide notes, a briefing document, the original summaries, and explainers.
There are plenty to draw from.
Our mission is really to distill the core insights and see, well, what's the practical significance for life today?
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's begin with those core affirmations themselves. Lesson 163's big statement.
Okay, lesson 163. There is no death. The Son of God is free.
Right. And that term, Son of God, in the Course's context, it's not quite the traditional religious meaning, is it?
No, not exactly. It refers more to our true shared self, our spiritual essence, you could say, the part of us that is divine and everlasting.
Okay, so it's inherent in everyone.
Yes. The affirmation is saying that essence, that self, isn't limited by physical death. It's free.
Got it. So freedom from that ultimate limitation.
Yeah.
And the second key affirmation from 164.
That one builds right on it. Now are we one with him who is our source.
Very direct.
Extremely. It's this clear assertion of our unbreakable connection to God, the creator, the source of everything.
No separation.
None. It suggests we're not just, floating around disconnected. We're integral parts of that source.
Okay, no death and oneness. These really do push against our usual experience. Let's tackle there is no death first. The Course calls death an illusion. How does that work?
Right. It's a central idea. The Course framework suggests that our perception of death is the illusion, and it's something generated by the ego.
Ah, the ego. Yeah, always helpful to clarify that term in the Course context.
Definitely. So the ego, in ACIM, is essentially the part of our mind that believes in separation. Separation from God, separation from each other.
And that belief leads to fear.
Exactly. It's the root of fear, anxiety. And the ultimate fear for the ego is death, because death looks like the final proof of separation, of ending.
So these lessons are directly challenging that core fear.
Precisely. As one of our source documents puts it, they challenge the deeply ingrained belief in death and separation. The ego says you end, the Course says that's the illusion.
Okay, so if death is the illusion born of separation, what's the reality? Our materials talk about eternal life, the soul.
Yes. The flip side of the illusion is the reality of eternal life. Our true nature, call it soul, spirit, the Son of God, is considered everlasting. It transcends the body.
It's not bound by the physical.
Not at all. That's what the Son of God is free points to. Free from the limits of the body, free from the perceived finality of death. Our actual being continues.
So maybe thinking of death less like a brick wall and more like a doorway?
That's a great way to put it. A transition, not an annihilation.
Okay, and this ties into the second idea, oneness with Source. Let's explore that more. What does it really feel like or mean to be one with God?
Well, it means the connection isn't something we achieve. It's something that it's inherent, unbreakable.
We are part of God, not just connected to God.
Exactly. We're integral aspects of the divine. Think of waves in the ocean. They look separate, but they are the ocean. Our essence is rooted in and unified with that source.
Constantly supported then.
Always. That's the implication. Sustained by divine love, part of this vast interconnected reality. You're never actually separate.
So these aren't just like nice ideas for contemplation. They have real-world impact. Let's talk about loss. How could believing there is no death change how we face losing someone?
Oh, hugely. It can offer a profound shift. Instead of viewing physical death as the absolute end.
Which is devastating.
Utterly. This perspective invites us to consider that the person's essence, their spirit, their true self, continues. It hasn't been extinguished, just changed form in a sense.
So it doesn't erase the grief maybe, but shifts it.
Exactly. It might bring a measure of peace, a different kind of comfort by reframing it away from absolute finality towards continuation. Understanding their essence exists beyond what we can see.
That feels like a potentially very healing perspective. What about our own fears? Fear of dying, fear of being alone?
Well, if we can start to truly internalize this unity, this oneness with God, and the idea that death isn't an end, it naturally starts to loosen the grip of those fears.
Because they stem from that ego belief in separation.
Precisely. The fear of ending, the fear of isolation, they thrive on the idea that we are separate and vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you start feeling that connection to an eternal source, knowing your being is everlasting, that fosters a deep sense of security.
It replaces the fear with something else.
Yes. Love, support, connection. Visualizing that connection, especially when you feel distressed or alone, drawing on that feeling of divine love, that can be incredibly powerful.
It sounds like these ideas really need to be felt, experienced, not just understood intellectually.
Absolutely. They need integration.
And our sources mention some practical ways to do that. Exercises.
Yes, a couple of simple but effective ones. One is a meditation on unity.
How'd that work?
It's really just about taking a few quiet moments, focusing on your breath,
Yeah.
and maybe visualizing that as you inhale, you're drawing in God's love, that sense of connection. And as you exhale, you consciously let go of thoughts of separation, fear, loneliness. Just breathe in unity, breathe out separation.
Simple, but I can see how that could center you in that feeling. What else?
The other is affirmation practice, basically just repeating the core statements aloud.
Saying, there is no death. The Son of God is free.
Yes,
Nice.
and now are we one with him who is our source? Saying them intentionally, letting the words resonate.
Allowing them to sink in deeper than just reading them.
Exactly. It helps to kind of retrain the mind, shift those underlying beliefs over time by consciously affirming the alternative reality.
So we're cultivating an inner feeling and reinforcing the concepts. How does all this play out in, just daily life, our relationships?
Well, if you truly start to accept there is no death, it can really heighten your appreciation for the present. Less worry about the ultimate future.
Frees you up to be here now.
Right, and the oneness aspect. That can fundamentally change interactions. If you see yourself and others as integral parts of the same source, deeply connected, it naturally fosters more compassion, more understanding, more love. You start looking beyond the surface differences and seeing that shared divine spark.
Less judgment, maybe.
Hopefully, yes. More recognition of the Christ in others, as the Katsi might say.
These lessons, 163 and 164, reviewed in 177, they're short, but wow, they pack a punch. A real challenge to how we normally see things.
They really do. They offer this entirely different lens. Life as eternal connection, not temporary separation ending in nothingness.
Which brings us to a good reflection point for you, the listener. How does realizing there is no death, even just contemplating it, change how you view your life, your relationships?
And maybe ask yourself, in what small ways, day to day, can I start to embody that understanding of unity with God? How can I bring that feeling into my interactions?
It's definitely an invitation for deeper personal exploration, isn't it?
Absolutely. It goes beyond just listening to us talk about it.
So revisiting these core ideas, death is illusion, our inherent oneness with Source, really does open the door to perceiving reality differently, a reality of eternal life and sacred connection.
It's a perspective shift with potentially huge implications.
This deep dive into Lesson 177, looking back at 163 and 164, it really feels like just scratching the surface of what this understanding could mean for you.
A starting point for a potentially transformative journey.